Angela Lancaster, number
Uruguay.
18. Sarah Powell, number 19.
Uruguay
Elizabeth O'Hara, goalkeeper,
with
number 27. Catherine
Rosanna
Williams,
Pastorell
goalkeeper, number
starting
31. And for
in
Uruguay,
goal.
we have goalkeeper
And then
captain
Camila
Rosanna
Di Mera.
Pastorell in number 1. Patricia Campos, number 5.
Milgaros
Maria, number 6.
Argotra.
Constanza
Carolina
Digay,
Mutival.
Milagros
Mara Teresa
Alvarca, number 9.
Archie.
Carolina
Luciania
number 17.
Menegroni.
Maria Teresa Viana, number
Agustina
18.
Nito.
Luciana Mingroni, number 19.
The actual
Agustina Nieto,
starting
number 20.
lineup. We'll deal with Canada in a while, but they are lining up
Barbara Patrick
for
Vidal,
the
number 29.
national
Victoria
anthems.
Latte, goalkeeper, number 32. Our umpires are Rachel Williams and Diana Fuentes Castello. Please stand for the national anthem of Canada.
So everyone being asked to stand for the national anthem.
And now for the national anthem of Uruguay.
Give you the name of that person very, very soon. As soon as I can think she's number 8 in the Canadian team, Keisha O'Neill all the way from Barbados, and Grenada. Well, Grenada is not a hockey playing country. They're playing Panama in football in a couple of weeks' time. They just beat Guyana 1-0. Of course, they're known for Tirani James, the great athlete. So, a Grenadian Barbadian in the Canada side, as we welcome Philip Finance, former national player and president of the Hockey Association. And good to see you, Philip. How important is this game for the two sides?
Well, this is a very important game for both sides. Both teams have been doing very well in the tournament, and we anticipate that certainly both want to come out on top of this side. Given that the Argentine women have also been a very strong contenders for the gold, and no doubt these two teams would like to secure that for themselves. So it's an interesting matchup, very important one for the outcome of the tournament. Canada on the ball to start the game. So Canada with Lee and Leahy at the back. Lee and Lancaster rather at the back. And then we have Pereira, O'Neill, and Weber in the front. And for Uruguay, starting with Pacelli in goal, and Di Maria, Algorta, Mutilvo, Vanak, and Nieto. Ball off the back line and Uruguay to restart.
Number 8 from Canada has got Grenadian and Barbadian parents.
First shot of the game comes from Uruguay.
Uruguay in all white. Canada wearing an all black strip almost. New Zealand rugby players are known for their all black strips and they name all blacks.
There we see the toughness of Di Maria. She's been quite a solid player for Uruguay throughout the tournament.
Carries a famous name.
Indeed, that of Angel Di Maria of international football fame.
Who hasn't quite produced as I think everybody expected.
Canada falling off on defense, choosing a half-court defense. Uruguay free it outside the D. Di Maria tries to find Nieto. Couldn't handle it. Long corner to Uruguay.
Mexican and English umpire. English umpire from Luton City. The other umpire from Mexico.
Uruguay enjoying a reasonable spell of possession here, Reds.
Yep, they started well.
And they win the first penalty corner of the match. It's good skills there by Viana. With the Canadian defender lifting the ball illegally in the circle.
How are the colors decided? Is who versus who?
Yes, the technical table would usually decide. Each team has to list 2 kits, and they will decide which to make sure there is a contrast. Ball off the post is an excellent attempt there by Di Maria.
off the top bar. Nice work by Lancaster and Lee to break the Uruguay offense, but comes right back Canada's way. Pereira in possession.
Here, Pereira in the Canadian lineup, obviously of Sri Lanka background, I would think. Uruguay going down the left flank after maybe a change of thought.
Good skills by Uruguay. Creating a good opportunity there.
Yeah.
Van Ack weaving through a couple of defenders.
Nice bit of stick work, huh?
Yes.
Then laid it off.
Yeah, for Nieto's shot.
Fish.
Canada pressing high up on the Uruguay right side. De Maria under a bit of trouble.
What's the best option? To play for a little bully?
Well, sometimes for the defender, it gets the ball out of the D.
Yeah.
So rather than take too many unnecessary risks, sometimes the defender just prefer the bully option.
Lee is such a solid player.
Yeah, indeed she is. Coming forward a little more, and playing in the middle now, uncharacteristic, as she's been in defense most of the time for the tournament. Seems like Canada is injecting a bit more aggression in their lineup. Pereira back forward and Lee goes to the back again. Lee back at her feet. Uruguay ball in their own half. Canada falling off to half-court defense. Campos almost had it. Missed the trap. Turning the ball over the Canadian way. Lancaster in possession. We see the first appearance of the 17-year-old Carvalho, who's been quite one of the creative forwards of the Canadian side. Good skills, Carvalho. Both teams battling it out in mid-pitch. Canada comes away with the free hit. Lancaster and Carvalho in the defense. Lee switches with Lancaster. Canada finding some room in the defense, the Uruguay defense there, but Carvalho unable to control the pass. Uruguay on the counter-attack now. It's good skills there by Van Ack. She comes away with the ball again up the right side. Van Ack's been doing a lot of work in offense for Uruguay. She's been making some inroads, but the Canadians have been foiling her at the last minute.
Canada, a smaller team, Philip, probably helps them with their speed, but the Uruguayans, who are quite well built, are also fairly fast.
Yes, they are. The game is a very fast game, and you find that it's a big advantage when a team has extra speed on the court.
Nice ball. Down the right side, almost penetrating, trying to get it across, but defense stopping it and coming away with it. Well, momentarily coming away with it.
Lee entered the scoring circle a bit too early there, Reds. Once there's a free hit in the attacking half of the field, then the ball needs to move 3 yards before going into the D.
All timeout call. I don't know if it's an illusion, Philip. Let's say this was an all-weather surface and it was field hockey. They wouldn't appear to be as fast because of the smaller concentrated space. They look so much sharper.
Yes, indeed. The outdoor game is also quite fast, but not quite to this level. The smoothness, so speed and strength, also skill, control of the ball, receptions and passes, and then good, of course, tactical awareness and decision making. So it needs to be a complete package, a complicated game.
With a bias on being able to attack.
Quite possibly, but then there are also those players that need to be able to hold the defense firm. As we would see a player like Alana Lewis in Trinidad, who does possess some attacking ability, but stays and anchors that defense for Trinidad so well. As does Lee in the case of Canada. Ball by Di Maria up. To Provello. Canada possession. Campos trying to slip a reverse pass through to Nieto, but unsuccessful.
9.5 minutes left in the first half. Still 0-0. And I would think Uruguay has had the better of the play.
They've had the better to play indeed, but I find that they've been some. Both teams seem to be defending their circle very well. There haven't been very many meaningful penetrations in the scoring circle. So there's possession in the backfield and a little bit in midfield, but neither team has seemed to have consistent penetration of that scoring circle and goal scoring opportunities being created. Long searching ball to the far post for Pereira by Lee.
Just inside the circle, was it?
Yeah, the pass was from outside, but if Pereira had given it a touch, I think Canada could have been on the board quite easily there.
Yeah. Uruguay's got one injured player in the bench. She's not suited up. And of course, for different reasons, a Barbadian player went home this morning. Could be work-related, family-related. But whatever, we wish them a safe trip home.
So Canada in possession in their own half. Uruguay falling off. Uruguay comes to attack. Long ball is no good. Game against favorites Canada. While the Canadian men lost to Argentina last night, they're certainly capable of producing top quality hockey.
Yes, that was a seesawing match, but towards the end, they just had a handle of Canada.
Yes, I think the Mexicans seem to have good speed in their game and produce some quality that was difficult for the Canadians to handle. Here we see Uruguay with a meaningful attack, almost creating a good goal scoring opportunity right from the inside the penalty spot. Ball for Uruguay now, back in.
Lee trying to go down the right side. Nice pass by, I think it was Weber. Lee certainly pushing forward more than we've seen previously.
Ball lifted by Uruguay. Turned over to Canada.
Canada spending a lot of time in their own half. Left back, right back, looking to Maybe play a diagonal ball, but using the wall and going on the left side. Trying to find O'Neill of Canada. Uruguay 1-1.
It's Viana.
Shot off. Going down the right side and getting the shot off, but not making the keeper save. But they got the pass through. It was a 1-1 situation. That's always dangerous, Philip.
Yes, indeed. The Uruguayan forwards seem to be taking the Canadian defense on individually when they get into that scoring circle, and they're looking quite dangerous at the moment. Ball exchanging hands quite frequently in midfield. It's a good save there from the Uruguayan goalkeeper.
Shot coming in from O'Neill.
Uruguayan Pacelli in the net.
Four minutes, 32 left in the half. Still 0-0. First game on this Thursday. Wherever
ball intercepted by Di Maria of Uruguay into Viana. Viana typically trying out his skills against young Cavallo. Sends the ball across. It's a foot race now. Canada and Uruguay. Canada winning the umpire's whistle in their favor. So Leahy and Cavallo in the back for Canada. Lee pressing up on that right board. We have Webber and O'Neill in front.
good hustle by Viana of Uruguay down the right side. She really worked hard. Well, the play eventually broke down.
Long ball into the Uruguayan D, but Di Maria receives, but then lifts the ball inadvertently into the body of O'Neill, giving Canada their first penalty corner.
What's the percentage of penalty corners taken? I would think maybe below what was expected in the tournament so far.
Yes, I would think so. There's been a lot of penalty corners being saved, which is not typical of the game at the highest levels.
Yeah.
Players for penalty corners need to be able to execute those skills under immense pressure with the defensive team charging at them.
Sure. And the keeper right on top of the striker.
Canada wins another penalty corner.
Lee didn't quite get
a hold of that one.
Yeah.
So the ball, when injected, needs to come completely out of the scoring circle before it goes back in for the shot. So I suspect the stopper might have had a bit of confusion just now as to when it came out or not, but nevertheless, they won a second just behind, all in contention as a result of that last night's tie.
And following this meeting here on court,
we have another women's match between the USA and Barbados, followed by a women's match of Trinidad and Tobago versus Guyana.
Wow. And later on, we have a Canada, Argentina, Uruguay, Barbados, USA versus Guyana. As the Barbadian contingent assembles to watch what's going on. And hello to you from wherever you are. The tournament being well followed throughout the world, very encouraged by the number of people who have responded and actually called from the various parts of the world to say hi. We're following the tournament, which is good. And of course, social media playing its own role in spreading the word. I think a lot of the national papers of the various teams carrying the scores, carrying the points, and good to know that this very important tournament for qualifications of the final of 2018. 2018, thank you very much, sir. Yep. That's the lineup.
So we're just about ready to resume. The score remains locked at 0-0. Uruguay versus Canada women's match in the. Well, I think the winner of this would be right up there next to Argentina, who haven't had any losses as yet. So this is quite an important battle, because it is could determine the potential gold medal spot, match in the gold medal
Uruguay
spot
was
in the
the
gold
first
medal match.
arriving Guyana, is that so?
Yes, that's correct. Uruguay arrived quite a few days before the tournament, tried to familiarize themselves with the conditions. And there's Uruguay in the scoring circle, blocked by Williams. Unorthodox technique by Williams, but very effective on that occasion.
So you were visited last night by the ambassador from
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yes. Came to see the Argentine-Canada match.
A happy man.
And he left quite a happy man with such a fine performance from his side.
He's been helping in a couple of areas. Rugby one. I think they've had a coach from Argentine.
Yes, I think rugby did have an Argentine coach. Here's Uruguay. Losing out to Canada in that battle. Pereira over to Lancaster.
It was in the circle. A chance probably missed, but they couldn't get the control, couldn't get a shot off Uruguay.
Canada's ball was lifted by the Uruguayan defender. They regained possession outside the D. As a shot by Lancaster, easily saved by goalkeeper Pacelli. Still dangerous situation for Canada. For Uruguay, rather. And it's a bully. It's Lee coming way up to Lancaster. Uruguay intercepts Margorta, but her ball is intercepted by Lancaster, who tries a nifty back reverse shot, saved by Pacelli.
A nice snapshot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm quite impressed with some of the goalkeeping we've seen here in the women's competition, Reds. As Evander sends a shot at Williams, who saves it, rebounding to O'Neill. Canada on a counter, but it runs off the baseline. The goalkeeping by both Canada and Uruguay here has been quite solid, and the U.S. team, of course, the goalkeeper was outstanding against Argentina.
Just a quick thing to the officiating. Basketball has gone for 3 umpires. Hockey has ever introduced a third official?
They have in the top world class competitions. They have a third umpire, and they refer. At least in the outdoor version of the game, they've done so.
Possession to Canada. Lee on the center line.
Pereira in possession, deep in the Uruguay circle now. High up on the left wing. And the umpire judged it to be a stick check by one of the Uruguayan defenders, giving Canada a penalty corner. Great great opportunity for Canada. 4 minutes into the second half, and the score remaining at 0-0. I think the team to go ahead first will have a good psychological boost, Reds. This could well be it.
Yeah, this might not be a low-scoring victory from one side or the other.
Ball out to Lee. Lee to Leahy. Leahy's shot into the body of the Uruguayan. Ball goes Uruguay's way. Uruguay in possession deep in their own half. Canada in a half-court defense. Back to goalkeeper Pacelli. Ball is now with Canada's Lee. Down in her defensive right corner. Being stalked by two Uruguayan defenders. Lee trying to find a space to get out, and she does. Skillfully done by Lee. She tries to find Leahy on the other side. Leahy with a shot. Great save by Pacelli. Uruguayans clear the ball to safety. Di Maria trying to find a pass across. Lee with the block, and the penalty corner awarded to Canada.
You think that shot was delayed just a second? Could have been taken earlier?
It may have been given Pacelli enough time to get right into possession, but it's a difficult ball to handle, and that might have caused a bit of a delay. But she did well nevertheless, at least get it on target.
Lee, who was floored, trying to compose herself because here taking deep breaths.
And it's the opener. Direct shot by Lee. Just past the left arm of goalkeeper Pacelli, giving Canada the 1-0 lead. 13 and a half minutes remaining on the clock.
There seems to be an objection by Uruguay.
So there's a 1 minute timeout called. Turning the ball over to Uruguay. Nice ball into Nieto. Cleared by goalkeeper Williams. Out to Di Maria. Uruguay controlling the possession for a while. A nice passing and rotation. Ambitious there by Batilva. Stolen by Pereira, who gains access to the circle. Has Weber behind her. Passes just a wide of Weber. Here comes Leahy. Leahy called for stick blocking. So players are not allowed to use their stick to prevent the defenders from making a tackle.
Yeah.
So if they use their stick as a shield going forward, it's often called against them, which is in the case of Leahy just a few moments ago.
Again, the same pattern, Uruguay, knocking the ball around. When they got a interception there by Canada.
And it almost fell kindly to Pereira.
Yeah.
But quick reaction by the Uruguayan defender. Here comes Leahy, driving up the right. Almost slipping a pass through to Lee. A reverse shot by Leahy. So Canada having a few attempts here, Reds, mostly on a counter-attacking move, but they're
looking better in the second half.
Yes. The majority of slow possession now with Uruguay as they pass it around, but the Canadian counter-attacks have been quite effective. Goalkeeper Williams blocks the pass across the D. Canada's free hit. comes Lee. Canada making several interchanges in their defense. Lee now on the forward line. A ball looking for Lee, but too far. It seems like Lee for Canada and Di Maria for Uruguay almost never leave the floor, right? They must be the players that the team relies on most heavily. You see, that's a great effort there by Uruguay. Deflection goal, and Williams did a fantastic job keeping them out. O'Neal drive up the right, passes it back out to Lee. And it's a fantastic goal there by Viana. Ball came in from the right side just for that deflection. Passes across the face of Williams in the net for Viana on the far post for the tip in.
She might have just got a contact with it, but not strong enough to keep it out.
And we see a green card penalty for Di Maria. Just as I was mentioning that she never leaves the floor, she leaves the floor for penalty. 1 minute on the sin bin. It's Lee. Penetrating run.
What a
Good attempt at net, but just hitting the side netting. It's Lee. Goalkeeper Pacelli came enough to throw her off her aim.
Just over 9 minutes left in the second and final half.
Canada putting some heavy pressure on Uruguay now. Pereira and O'Neal. O'Neal manages to steal the turnover. So the score is level at 1 apiece now. As Pereira tries to slip the ball through to the goal. And blocked by goalkeeper Pacelli. Uruguay come away with it to the back.
I don't know if there's an outstanding award to be presented, but Lee will be right up there if there was such an award.
Yes, I'm sure she will be.
Female.
There's several individual awards. There's going to be a Player of the Tournament award. It's going to be a Best Goalkeeper award, a Most Goals Scored award, and a Best Young Player award. So apart from the trophies and medals, it's going to be 4 individual awards for each the male and the female competitions. Here's Nieto trying a high back stick flick. Not enough power on it. Easily parried by Williams for a long corner to Uruguay. Di Maria back on the field. Playing the ball around with Montilva. Errant pass by Di Maria, and it runs off the back line, giving Canada a long corner. Good skills by Cavallo. Cuts through the European defense across field. Lays the ball back out. Lee now tries to find Cavallo. She lifts the reception. Ball turned over to Uruguay. Ball up to Nieto. Hits the foot of Viana. Pereira coming away with it.
We haven't had a 1-1 score line in this competition.
No, we haven't.
No. This could well be the first. Six minutes left in the game.
So we see the reappearance of the skillful Lee He for Canada. And also Algorta of Uruguay. Here comes Lee Hee. She has Pereira on her left. And O'Neill. Stolen by Motilva. Uruguay now up in the circle. It's with Viana. And Campos. Uruguay wins the penalty corner. Umpire judged the balls have been lifted by Canada. So good opportunity for Uruguay to take the lead. 5 minutes remaining on the clock.
You're talking about that prize for the top goal scorer. I've always contended in football, especially when there's a monetary prize, it could be dangerous towards selfish play.
Yes, indeed. So it is always one of the challenges. Hockey over the years has tried to have a best defender award as well. There isn't one such award in this tournament, but that perhaps could balance things out at least a little bit. Ball out to Di Maria. She shoots, saved by Williams. It's a long corner. Oh, ball Canada's way. O'Neill in the circle.
Big effort by O'Neill of Canada. Try and
losing out to Viano.
Yep.
In the long run. Pereira of Canada intercepts, comes the other way. She has Lee Hee in the middle. Ball intercepted by the Uruguayan. Lee Hee gains possession again, high up in the left. It's Uruguay possession.
For people streaming or viewers, 1-1 situation is broken by what?
Well, in fact, this is still the pool round, and therefore the 1-1 means that both teams come away with just 1 point, which can affect their chances of making it into the final. The tournament structure gives one pool with everyone playing everyone, and then it goes straight to classification matches. So there's no semi-finals. In fact, the top 2 of the pool go straight to finals, with the very next 2 playing in the bronze medal playoff. So the score line of each game comes into play, very important, because after any teams that are tied on points, then the goal difference will come into play.
And in other disciplines, you might find a format where 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3.
Yes, sometimes we see that. They use that format a lot in the outdoor game.
.2:36 on the clock. Both teams playing for what could be the crucial.
Here comes Lee. She has Lee on the right. Opts for the reverse pass. Not successful. Uruguay trying to get the ball out of their D. Dangerous position for them to be in. Ball comes out now to Lee again. And it's Lee in possession. Out to Cavallo. Good turn by Cavallo, showing some good skills, keeping possession.
Yeah.
Ball back to Lee. Lee drives right and wins the penalty corner.
And a good position to be in Canada with 1:50. It's 1-1. Kind of, it's now or never situation. O'Neill to take the corner of Grenadian, Barbadian background.
Canada squanders a good opportunity there. Just 1 minute, and here comes the ever-present Viana, using her skills and wins the corner for Uruguay. Now this is interesting, Reds, because Canada won a penalty corner, had an opportunity with 1.5 minutes perhaps on the clock. They botched the set piece, and Uruguay immediately launched a speedy counter-attack and won a penalty corner of their own. Less than 1 minute on the clock, and this could well be the final good chance of the game.
And number 18, Vanna, really put her body on the line.
Yeah, she's been fantastic for Uruguay through this game, showing good skills. Now she's about to inject the ball to the Uruguay penalty corner unit.
Will Uruguay score?
If she fumbles the pass, it comes out to Di Maria, who sends the ball up over the net. Seems like it's a 1 minute timeout with 20 seconds left on the clock, Reds. Interesting to see if any team can draft enough of a play to make something work in 20 seconds.
That's a disappointing corner.
Yes, it was. It was. When it mattered most, both teams failed to deliver on the corner unit. Canada first, then on the counter-attack, Uruguay won the corner, and they did the same thing.
Mistakes. This one limped out.
Yes. So with 20 seconds on the clock, if this were an NBA game, the coaches would be drawing scribbles on the board.
Oh, yes.
And coming up with some magic. Let's see what the hockey coaches have for us.
I'm always intrigued by the coaching staff. 10 seconds ago, you wonder what kind of set play, who's going to take the shot.
Yes. So Uruguay come up and set up in a half-court defense formation. Canada with possession. Sends the ball through to Leahy, trying to gain entrance to the circle. Cavallo in possession now. And Lee. Lee tries to find O'Neill and looks like she might win the penalty corner. Does she? Yes. They get the penalty corner. Ball pops up off the defender's stick.
The coaching staff didn't plan that.
No, I doubt that was the play. So the situation remains 1-1, and the game is out of time, which means that just the penalty corner to play, and Canada with the only team remaining with a chance to score the game. Lee scored by a direct shot earlier, Reds. Interesting to see if she goes with that again, and she does. Hits the body of the Uruguayan defender and results in a second penalty corner.
And the pressure is all on Uruguay, yet a certain amount of pressure in the people in possession. Because here's an opportunity. Can we take it?
Interesting to see now if they're up for the bump to the left to Leahy, who's also quite good at the strike, or if they go again with the direct shot from Lee. And it's Lee, and she makes it too. I think there's a lot of broken hearts in the Uruguay camp there, Reds. Yeah. Canada wresting the victory in the final seconds. 2-1.
The kind of end that can have tears on both sides, tears of joy and tears of defeat,
yes,
disappointment.
That's correct. It was a wonderful game, though. Went round to the wire, very entertaining. Both sides creating opportunities. In the end, we got to congratulate Canada for executing well when the pressure was on in the very last moment.
And Uruguay had their chances towards the end.
Yes, Uruguay also had a penalty corner with just seconds to go. Failed to make good of it. So as we prepare for our next game, which will be another ladies match between the USA and Barbados, the USA being the top of the pool table at the moment and Barbados being at the opposite end, should be interesting to see if what Barbados can do to quell the onslaught of this US team that's been destroying opposition so far in the tournament.
Yeah, well, they will want to at least end this tournament with a good performance, but it's going to be a tough match. Very tough match for Barbados. Any more personalities expected today? Any more ambassadors?
Yes, I do believe we've had contact from the U.S. ambassador and the Canadian High Commissioner, who may either be visiting today or tomorrow. So we expect at least those two. Of course, our local ministers have been visiting, and they may well return this afternoon to watch some hockey.
So, as we await the Barbados team to arrive, we'll just take a break. I don't know, Philip, you want to say a few more words about who else may be coming?
No, we're going to take a break now. The crowd is no doubt going to grow as the afternoon progresses. And then we expect certainly by the weekend to have a full house as go into the placement matches and the rest time for those of us who are still at work.
And the prices remain the same.
Remain the
500.
same throughout, yes.
Great. Let's hope we have a great Saturday crowd. In the meantime, we'll take a break and stay with the Pan Am World Indoors from Guyana.